Hello, it's Adonis Turner, Rebirth Fitness, and here today I'm going to talk to you guys about goal setting. Goal setting is something that can be often a distraction for your overall life ultimately. Sometimes you set too big goals, and sometimes you set too small goals to where they're easily achieved, and then you have to keep setting new goals, and then at that point, when they're too small, you end up setting too big ones because you don't want to consistently, like every week, pass up a goal you have. So you want to challenge yourself, and then and at that point you get discouraged, and it's just a vicious cycle. But I have an idea that may help you. If you already have a good goal setting system, you don't have to follow this plan, but here's just some ideas that you can implement to your life as far as whether it's school, work, or finances, or relationships, or things of that nature. Here's something, since this is a fitness channel, I'm going to talk more about fitness. I am a mechanical engineering student, but it's going to be heavily based around working out, but you can also implement these ideas into other areas of your life. So here's 4 steps that I can recommend to you guys if you are wanting to set new goals or wanting a better foundation for your goals to achieve. Let's take a look. First of all, obviously, number one, set a big goal. For me, for instance, for today, not for today, but for this year, I really would like a 600-pound squat. Now that I don't know how long that'll take me. I don't know if it'll take me a couple months or at the end of this year, but for this year, I would really want a 600-pound squat. That's just an arbitrary goal. I have to look at my programming to make sure that actually makes sense, and previous people before me at my body weight can actually achieve this goal. So you have to do some thinking with your goal as far as the timeline. Is it realistic? If you're very poor on Tuesday to where you have only $0 in your bank account, it is unrealistic to say, hey, I want $20 billion in 2 days. You have to manage your goals, and you have to actually make sense and make sure you have the work ethic to actually achieve those goals. If you're someone who's lazy, that's something you first need to work on. You can't say, oh, I want to work hard, but I also want to be lazy. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So first, set a big goal, make sure it makes sense, make sure, now I'm not saying miracles don't happen, and I'm not saying big goals don't happen quickly, but generally speaking, everything takes a lot of time. You have to gradually work and put hours upon hours before you even see the slightest bit of resemblance of results, whether it's working out or even in your job life or whatever. People don't just get promotions every day. That's just an example. Step 2, work backwards. First, you see, okay, I want, just for my example, in 4 years, I want a mechanical engineering degree. What do I need to do to get there? And then you find out from people before you, as far as like, okay, there's degree plan sheets, there's certain classes I have to take, there's certain classes I have to take each year, so on and so forth. For working out, it would be, okay, I want a 600-pound squat, so I have to make sure my programming is right. People who have 600-pound squats, what are they doing? Are they my height? Do they work out similar to me? Things of that nature. Do we have the similar workout splits? So you just have to ask yourself the good questions, and also do the time frame. Am I putting too much pressure on myself to get that 600-pound squat? If I don't get it this year, would it be bad if I got it a month after this year? So these are just things you have to play around with, and you also have to have backup plans as far as if your plan doesn't go down perfectly. Like for instance, yesterday I was so fatigued from my workout that I only got 15 of the 27 sets I was supposed to do. So instead of crying and calling my mom, I decided, hey, I can just do the second half of it on Wednesday. It's the same amount of volume, and it ends up being the same thing anyway, because it's just a different day, as opposed to fitting all that. It's like 2.5 hour workout in one day. I can split up by doing an hour and a half and an hour. So that's just an example of how you can split and morph and adjust as life comes up and things happen. For number 3, I have set short-term goals. When you set short-term goals, if it's a year goal or 5-year goal, what you can do is have something where you can have a 1 month goal within there, and you can also have a week goal within there. That's something I do myself. So if it's a financial thing where you want to get $10,000, we'll just say this year, you have to do the math and say how much do you need to get per day and how much do you need to get per week in order to get that goal. That's a realistic goal. It's very easy to attain. And if you can surpass it, great. Surpass it before you set a new goal. If you're on pace to getting that goal, don't change it until you surpass it. That way you have something that you can say, oh, I achieved it. Then that way it'll give you confidence to get new goals and under new systems and under new constraints, because you have proven to yourself in your mind and in your heart that you can do this. The short-term goals are basically for fitness related. Something I tell my clients is don't actually focus on the end result, focus on the journey getting there. Not to sound cliche or anything, but there's a lot of people that just say like, how can I lose 60 pounds in 2 months? And then I always say like, what's wrong with losing 1 pound in the next 4 days and then doing that a bunch of times? Because then at that point, you will get 60 pounds over a general span. Because if you get caught up in like 100 pounds in 2 months, if you lose, for instance, if you don't achieve your goal and you lose 50 pounds in 2 months, it's the way the world works, you'll be disappointed because you didn't get 100 pounds, but you have to keep in your mind that you lost 50 pounds. You made progress. So always understand and acknowledge the fact that you are making progress in your journey. If you're doing something in a gym, you are making progress. Most people don't even go to the gym. Some people don't even have gym memberships. I don't know how you guys do it, some of you, but long story short, it's as far as long-term goals, you want short-term goals within that. And for instance, if you say like, I want $10 million in the next, 10 years, you have to say like, okay, if I'm working at Walmart, can I achieve this? Now, granted, you could go up the ranks and get a job within Walmart making millions of dollars a year. That can happen, but what are the odds? And then you have to ask the questions like, okay, do I need another job? Do I need to invest this way? How do other people get $1 million? So asking advice from people who have certain aspects of what you want is generally a good idea, unless there's someone who doesn't line up with you character-wise, where they cheated their way to the top and, without getting too much detail, did immoral things to get to rise the ladder. So you want to focus on people who have the character that you kind of not idolize but respect, and then you get their advice on a particular subject as far as goal setting or how did they do it themselves. Some people are just born into billion-dollar families, which you can't really do anything about that. You can't really ask them because they didn't work for their $1 billion. But what you can do is ask them of how do they maintain what they have and getting more. So that's just another option for short-term goals. You don't want to get caught up in the end result. You want to get caught up in the steps getting there. For working out, if you have a goal to get a certain total, your main focus should be on hitting the numbers in your programming, assuming your programming is correct. You want to hit the numbers in your programming. You don't want to focus like, oh, I want a 600-pound squat. For me, you need to focus on having a good program and hitting the numbers each week in your program. And you know, if you're not hitting your numbers, that you should not expect to hit the 600-pound squat. That's just an example for me. And that can be applied to other things. For instance, if you know you need to be at work a certain amount of times per week, but then you cheat on some weeks and you don't show up, or you clock in late because you're late to work, you know you're behind your goal and you need to catch up some sort of way. And number 4, do it for yourself. Some people have goals because they do it for their parents, or they do it for friends, or for acceptance or acknowledgement and things of that nature. I'm of the belief that those will eventually fail, if not immediately. Like, for instance, some people only go to the gym to impress the opposite sex. When that can only take you so far, and it's such a short-lived time. I've seen that fail so frequently. It's usually, from what I've seen, a 2 to 6 month span to where people actually get motivated to do something for, like, for instance, since I'm a guy, we'll say for a girl. I have friends who, because they were talking to a girl, they worked out, and then once they stopped talking, they stopped working out and got fat again. So you need to understand that working out or going to school or whatever you want to do is good for yourself, not necessarily good for anyone else, because if you yourself aren't happy, you can't really pour into anyone else as far as benefiting society and things of that nature, because you're just going to be disappointed and you're going to be at war with yourself every day. Like, for instance, if you don't want to do a particular major, but your parents wanted you to do it, and then you get the degree in that major, you are going to hate yourself, and then you're going to look in the mirror one day and be like, why am I here? I don't like this job. And then you're going to want to quit, and then it's going to set you back years of your life because of the fact that you wasted time getting a degree that you didn't want to get. Now granted, hopefully you realize the benefit of schooling and getting the degree you want, or if you didn't go to school, if you just go right into the workforce and you have a job that you're not happy with, hope you understand that you have options. You don't have to be stuck because someone told you you're stuck. You have to understand in your heart that you're not stuck, and you can rise above anything. But my bottom line is, you need to do it for yourself, and then once you do it for yourself, be the person to lift someone up that was in your situation previously. Like, because if you're someone who just aspires to be rich, there's going to be a time when you're rich or well off or middle class or whatever you end up being, that you can lift up someone who's poor than you, because you're never going to be, the people I'm talking to, you're not going to be the poorest person on earth. So there's always someone you can benefit, or who can benefit from your services and your wisdom and your guidance. So that's pretty much it. Goal setting, you want to set a big goal. Just because it's a fitness channel, what I'll say is I want a 600-pound squat, and then you want to work backwards. For me, what I'll do is I'll say, like, okay, who do I know that has a 600-pound squat? What's their work ethic, and what's a realistic time frame for a 600-pound squat? Set short-term goals. For me, setting a short-term goal for a 600-pound squat would be making sure from week to week I'm hitting all my numbers that I have outlined in my proven to work program. And if I'm not hitting my numbers, that means I have to change something along the way. I have to be willing to adjust my programming or work harder in different areas to achieve my goals. It depends. Your goals really depend on your work ethic. It depends on nothing else. And bottom line, do it for yourself. You have to understand, when you set this goal, you're not going to be, some people will expect that you're going to be like, yay, woo, for a whole year or so when the goal comes. When people graduate, I mean, I'll graduate next year for college, but when people graduate, people aren't saying or not screaming for joy for weeks and weeks and weeks. They work for 4 years and they probably celebrate for half a week, maybe 2 a week, but then they'll go into the workforce. But things don't work that way. So when you set a goal and then you achieve it, you're gonna have to understand that you're gonna have to achieve a new goal, and you're gonna have to set a new goal so you can achieve that and keep moving forward, or you'll get stagnant into what you'll be. Because whatever you have, you can always get more. Now, I don't mean that selfishly, but you can always improve upon what you have, and you can always benefit people more, and you can benefit your family more. So you can always do more, and you can always set more goals and achieve more goals. And there you have it, folks. That is goal setting. Set 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you have any questions on goal setting, or if you have any comments or thoughts, please share it with me. I like to communicate with you. And thanks for watching, and you have a good one.